Hi there, I'm Suzanne Gose of Flip Flop Spanish and Spanish Geniuses. I'm a homeschooling mom of 5, have been homeschooling for over 20 years and was a public school teacher before that. I love teaching about not only Spanish and foreign language, but also how to communicate in any language effectively. So I also teach public speaking classes, speech and debate, things like that down here in the Community Homeschool Center in Bryan, Texas. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about how to help your own children be an effective, engaging communicator at any age. So as we go through the slides and go through the points, I'll be talking to you about how you can teach your own children to become an engaging communicator and be effective. Of course, you'll end up absorbing some of that information yourself, and that will help you in your teaching style, in your communication style with all kinds of relationships. So let's get started. Oh, if you don't have a notepad, go ahead and grab that. You're going to want to take some notes. I always do anyhow. And there's also a handout, so you can print that out and follow along, because we will be kind of rating and grading ourselves at the end to see what areas we have gotten down. There's 7 tips. And so out of the 7, you're going to have some that you're like, I'm good at that. And there's some others that you're going to be needing to improve. I know every time I teach this lesson, I think, oh, I need to improve in that area. Okay, let's get started. All right, here we go. 7 tips to becoming or being an engaging communicator. All right. First tip, be congruent. Congruent is a big fancy word, and you'll have to teach your children probably. I mean, my kids didn't know this word, but they want to be in agreement with their words. So being sarcastic, having that facial expression is not going to be helpful for you. So whatever you're saying, you want it to match what you're doing. So you need your tone to match your words to match your body language. So if you're wanting to send a kind message, you don't want to be moving your hands around and making facial expressions. And, you know, if you're trying to tell them something kind or something invigorating, or you're trying to excite them, you can't have it not match. So to be engaging, you need to make sure that there's not a confusion. Your facial expression matters. If you're saying something happy, you smile. If you're saying something that makes you very angry, you don't smile. That's important. So whenever you're trying to explain something, you want to make sure everything matches your body language, your tone, the rate of what you're speaking. And just recognizing, I think the main thing for students especially is for them to know every child ages 4 and up needs to understand that you're always sending a message. So when we say watch your attitude to our children, or watch your expression, or don't take that tone with me, sometimes it's frustrating to them because they're not trying to send a message. Unfortunately, whether you're trying to or not, parents, mothers, teachers, children, you're always sending a message. So even when you want to shut down, you just go, I just want to be here and just listen. You think you're sending the message of nothing. You think, I'm just listening. I'm just sitting here. But when your arms are folded, if your head is down, unfortunately, you could accidentally be sending the message of, I don't care, I'm not interested, or you don't matter. You could be sending the message of, you know, by sitting like this, I'm bored. Your words are not interesting to me. That is the biggest part of being congruent. So when you're trying to engage somebody, when you're trying to effectively communicate, your eye contact, how you turn your body. If my child is over here and my body is faced this way because I'm looking at the computer, I'm sending them the message that you do not have my full attention. So turning your body to face the person is huge. So make sure whenever you're trying to send some sort of message to somebody, there's some information they need or you feel like they need. Does your message match? Does your body language match the message you're trying to send? A very easy thing to teach them is just open versus closed body stances. When you're standing, having your feet apart from each other, having yourself in a very static, sturdy position sends that message and lets people know around you that you're open, you're firm, and you're ready to talk. You're ready to communicate. You want to engage in a relationship or some sort of event here. If anything is closed, from folding your arms to shrugging your shoulders, head down, anything closed, crossed legs even. The way we stand, especially as females, if we have a hip out or if we have our knees together, that's going to portray an image of being closed off, either uncomfortable with ourselves or uncomfortable with the other person. So closed versus open is a very simple thing to teach 4, 5, 6-year-olds all the way up to high schoolers and college graduates even. I've trained them in this, and they had no idea that their body language sends a message just based on how they stand. And they're like, oh, I was just cold, or I was just being comfortable, or, well, my hip just hurts. You know that, but the other person doesn't know that. So communicating with everything in you is the first part of recognizing how to be an engaging communicator, because you're making everything match. Why would somebody be interested in listening to me if this is how I'm telling you? So that is tip 1, be congruent. Let your words and your message match everything else, tone, body language, energy, all that stuff. Make it match. If that's all you learn, that's enough. How? This is always fun. Whenever I was in classes for public speaking, for marketing, for business classes, all these seminars and workshops, people would always encourage me and be super inspirational. And then they would say, do this or do that. And they didn't really like me being in the audience, because I would raise my hand and say, okay, but how? So I don't want to give you all these tips and not tell you how. So how do you teach your children this? Because we know if we just say it to them, that's not enough all the time. And so we have to train them. So how do we train them? We practice with role play. The favorite thing for kids to do is to do it the wrong way. It's super intentional. It's super effective to kind of give your kid permission to pull back into the recesses of their mind and remember a time when their voice and their tone was not congruent with their message. So make sure they know this is how we don't do it, and let them be sarcastic. Let them say, I really love you, Mom, and glare. And everybody will giggle. Yes, I'm happy to clean my room right now. Whatever it is. Mom, I need to tell you something that's really important to me. Is this going to be effective? Is this going to be engaging? Is this going to be something that somebody wants to listen to when your face is scowly and your tone is down? So as soon as they do it the wrong way, 2 or 3 different ways, then you say, okay, how can we change that? What should we do to make it a lot easier to listen to? And just little short snippets, 1 or 2 sentences. So this also will help you whenever they do have the bad attitude, because they will, right? They'll have a bad attitude. They'll say something in a sassy tone or a disrespectful attitude or facial expressions. And you'll say, oh, were you practicing the wrong way to communicate with me? And they'll remember, and they'll say, oh, no, ma'am. I mean, yes, ma'am, I was. Eyes up, chin up, shoulders back, stance open. Let's try again. It's going to go so far for them and for you whenever you recognize, oh, I have a tone that's hard for my children to listen to right now. I have a tone that's hard for my husband to listen to. My body language is sending something that's not helpful right now. So practicing the wrong way and then practicing the right way. 5 or 10 minutes, once or twice. I mean, I'm not even going to say a week. That's too much. Once or twice. And then whenever you see the slide back, do it again. Hey, let's practice being engaging communicators. You can show them the video and show them how I'm doing it in a wrong way. And, I really love you. And so that'll make them laugh. Laughter is a great way to teach. Tip 2, be interesting. So to be interesting means to hold or to catch someone's attention. You need to gauge your audience. When you gauge your audience, that means, who are you talking to? If you're talking to a bunch of 8-year-olds who are ready to go outside and play on the playground, or if you're talking to teenagers who just woke up, figure out what's their interest level right now. What are they naturally interested in at this moment? Because you're going to have to compete with that. So how important is your message? How effective is it? Can they pay attention yet? So gauging your audience, it could be just your own child, one child. It could be all of your children together. It could be your entire family. Are they hungry? Maybe not the best time for a Bible study. Are they sleepy? Maybe not the best time for an in-depth science lesson. Gauge your audience before you begin speaking. What is their interest already naturally on that you will be competing with one way or another? If it's internal or external distractions, there's always distractions. So figure that out before you start. Then you want to check for their knowledge and background. Nobody wants to hear something they already know. It's so boring. Everybody's bored. Hopefully I'm being interesting to you and you didn't know this already. So do you know that your tone matters, your volume matters, your facial expression matters? Do you already know that? Unfortunately, you're not sitting in front of me, so I can't find that out. But I always start my in-person workshops, my seminars, when we do the homeschool conventions, with hands raised. I'm like, just nod if you've had a public speaking course ever. That helps me immensely. I also want to find out, what ages do you have? Check for knowledge and background. Use colorful tone and language. Change it up. So I'm leaning forward when I talk to you. I lean back. I made sure my background, I took all my pictures down at first, and then I thought, no, that's interesting. Colorful language, colorful background, colorful facial expressions. Colorful just means changing it up. Lots of different energies, lots of different voice inflections, word language. You don't want to always use super long words. You don't want to always use short words. So when you're preparing to speak to somebody and send them an important message, your words carry positive things and negative things. Be interesting. Don't stay the same. Do you use your hands a lot? It gets exhausting. Do you use your hands not at all? That's a little dull. So you want to change things up from when you speak, your volume, your rate, the pitch of your voice, and what type of language you're using to communicate. Be interesting in the way, the vehicle of your speech, not just the message itself. Hopefully the message is already interesting. Hopefully it's already important to them, but it doesn't hurt to help them to see the importance. This is the biggest point. Be interested in your own message. If you don't care, they're going to know it. They're just going to know. This is why I outsource, I won't say which classes. Some of my subjects that I teach my own children, I am simply not interested in. That's not good. So find a teacher who is interested in that particular subject matter and let them teach it. So if you have a bad history with something, or you don't like talking about something and you're not interested in it, find somebody who is, to send that very important message to your children. And that's why we have great, the Community Homeschool Center down here in Bryan. You have lots of options. You have co-ops. If you're not interested in your own message, it's going to show. If you're the only one that can send the message to them, get interested. Find some part about it that is interesting to you before you try to communicate that to your own children. How? You're like, that's great, Suzanne, but how do I do it? Okay, so this is really gutting to do, but it's important. You want to look back at times you were bored. Was it true, kind, and necessary? Was that message even necessary to say? It's really hard to be honest, and it's really hard to get this feedback. So I would actually literally have a clipboard and go to the children and ask them to write down 1 or 2 times when they were bored while you were talking. That is not fun, is it? But it's important because you want all of your messages to be interesting and engaging to them. Same with your parents, your family, your husband, your groups, your Bible studies. This can be applicable to all areas. If you actually want to be an engaging communicator, you will want the feedback for how you failed in the past. It's all about ego, isn't it? So survey it, be honest with yourself, recognize that your ego is not something that we want to worship. We don't want to make our ego the most important thing, and find out how you failed in the past so you can improve in the future. You want to be influential. That means looking at past mistakes and changing them. If you don't know what the mistakes are, how can you change? Tip 3, show enthusiasm. That kind of goes along with interesting, right? So to be enthusiastic is to show intense and eager enjoyment. You can't do it all the time. Some of us have a natural tenacity for this. It's already in our DNA. It's already in our structure, the way we already communicate, our vocabulary. Others of us are more subdued. I love those people. I love talking to people that are subdued. It's very calming for me. So you don't have to necessarily be like a rah-rah cheerleader, but you want to show enjoyment. That usually comes through the eyes and the way you lean forward. So these are the ways that you can show enthusiasm, but you want to be appropriate. So have appropriate energy. That means if you're at a nice dinner, you don't need to be jumping around or doing high kicks. If you're talking about something that's serious, let the enthusiasm show appropriately. So you're trying to train your children what's good and what's not good as far as being an effective influencer. I don't like that word influencer, but influential part of their arena. How big is their room? Right now, their room, their arena, their effective sphere is pretty small. So let's be effective in that sphere. And then as they get out in the world, it's going to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. And so there's something to be said for being enthusiastic and fun, but you don't want to be obnoxious. That gets to where people can't listen to you. So match the situation. If you're in a math lesson, you're enthusiastic about, oh yeah, we got that right. But you're not calling out cheers and chants and doing cartwheels every time they get a right answer. Appropriate. There we go. Don't be over the top. Sometimes we extroverts, we communicators, we go over the top. It's with purpose, but if it's over the top too often, people want to turn me down. They don't want to listen. It's too much. So make your stimulation effective and appropriate. How? Practice. So say, okay, y'all, I want to try this now. I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to use some of these tips that Mrs. Gose just taught me on the seminar. And so I'm going to have my open stance. I'm going to talk to you with changing my voice and my tone. And I want to see if you can decide if you think I'm enthusiastic enough with this particular message. At the very end of that practice, then they can tell you, yeah, that was a lot easier to listen to, Mom. Or that was a little obnoxious, Mom. So again, you have to gauge your relationship. Do you have an open enough relationship with your children? Are you willing to let them have feedback? It depends on your family culture. It's not going to work with every family culture. So if it's not going to be with your children, maybe with your husband, maybe with a close friend, maybe with your pastor's wife, hey, can you just listen to me say this important thing that I need to practice my enthusiasm? Does this come off as fake, or do you feel like this is good? Tip 4, demonstrate trust. So trust, a firm belief in the reliability of someone. Do you trust your audience? You need to show them that you believe that they're ready for this information and they want it. You don't doubt their feedback. So if they give you some sort of attitude, or they nod, or they shake their head, or whatever kind of feedback you get while you're sending the message, while you're giving them and talking to them, trust that they're being honest. They're not trying to trick you, just like you're not trying to trick them. Expect an honest response. So that's kind of what I just said. Give time for a response. This is the biggest thing. If we don't trust somebody, or we don't trust the way they're going to react, we quickly say it. We say, oh, I need to do this, blah, 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 blah. And I didn't, okay, bye, click. So whenever we think they'll either hurt us, or they'll lie to us, or they'll go against us, then we don't give time. So the biggest part of trusting somebody is giving them time to respond, slowing down and looking out there, whether it's a big group of people, or it's just your own children or your best friend. Stop, look at their face, gauge it, process it before you move on. Again, if you were sitting in front of me, this is where, you take your coffee and you take a sip while you survey the audience. You're not in front of me, so I don't get to do that. But change your message based on what you're getting back. That's how you engage. It's both ways. You can't engage if the other person doesn't want to be engaged. So give them a chance to decide. And then, look for their response. I think I already said that. So be ready for it. they will feel that. It's really two-way. It's really one of those things that's kind of cyclical. It cycles down if it's not well done, and it cycles up when it is well done. You become more and more engaging, and your children and your audience engages with you more because they're wanting to listen, because you're respecting them and their time. Speaking of time, let me zoom on to next. Oh, how do you do it? Speaking of time, practice with a timer. So setting down a time limit of 1 minute, 30 seconds, whatever it is. You're talking, look at a timer somewhere, set a timer before you start talking. How long have I been talking? 4 minutes. Let me wait 20 seconds and see what my children's response is. Practice with a timer. It doesn't take a long time for you to practice. You'll get trained fairly quickly because you'll see, oh, I am long-winded, or oh, I am not long-winded, but I don't give anybody a chance to respond to me. It shows lack of trust and lack of respect to your audience, whoever is on the receiving end trying to get your message. They need to be respected with silence. This is the hardest one for me. Be clear and concise. I think I'm clear. I'm not always concise. To be concise is to be brief but comprehensive. I like giving lots of anecdotes. I like giving lots of examples. I think they're interesting. I like reading books, those books that say, oh, do this, this, and this, and then they tell me how somebody else did it. It's very engaging to me. Not everybody's that way. So after you gauge your audience, if you have mostly men, I hope this isn't offensive, it's just true. If you have mostly men in your audience trying to receive this information, sons, husbands, whoever, just students who are men, males, they're not interested. They don't want the details. They don't want the story. Give me the information, be comprehensive, don't leave anything out, move on. Remove extraneous details. The good thing about recording this is I will definitely be going back and I'll be taking things out. If you want to see the things that I take out, watch to the end. I always put it in bloopers. I want to be vulnerable and honest and trust you with my entire message. So when I mess up, yeah, I take that out to be respectful of your time, but I don't want to hide anything from you. One anecdote per point. Do not give more stories. People get tired of stories. Everybody does. Respond to feedback. We already said that. So if somebody does this, you say, okay, I can see. Let them know you saw that. You're responding to that. So I can see I've overstayed my welcome. I can see I've talked too long. If you see people looking down, they're not just like counting the thread in their jeans. They're looking at their phones because you've gone on too long. If you're in a public speaking type arena, if your children are looking out the window, if they're looking down, if students are rocking in their seats, if you're teaching a class or a co-op, people are shifting, shorten it up. I wish you were sitting in front of me because I'd probably be shortening it up right now. This is the best part. What are you trying to say? Know your point, say it, move on. Don't just hold the stage because you can. See how I did that? I got my point across, I moved on. Okay, how do you do this? How? If you're loquacious and lots of details and very expressive, how do you become a clear, concise communicator? Break it down. So I had my husband do this for me because I'm not good at it. So you want to practice with long stories that you already know. I'm getting out my phone right now and I'm finding my husband's detailed storyline about Cinderella. A princess was born to parents. The mom died. The dad married another woman. The daughters were bad. The dad dies. Cinderella is made a slave. Magic happens. Cinderella marries a prince. The nasty stepdaughters are relinquished somewhere else. Happily ever after. The end. And then they blow that up into a beautiful full-length feature movie. Practice. So take well-known stories from your history, from family folklore, from anything, and break it down to bullet points. The more you get to that concise bullet point idea, you'll get better at it when you're communicating. Tip 6, check for understanding. To be an engaging communicator, you need to make sure that you're actually getting through. So check for understanding. Understanding just means comprehension. Did they comprehend? They might have heard you. They might have even listened to you, but did they comprehend it? Are they getting the same message that you're sending? The word okay does not count. This is the worst habit, I think, out of every teacher in the entire universe. Public speaking, public school, private school, co-ops, and moms. We don't run with scissors, okay? Okay. That was not checking for understanding. We don't run with scissors. Why? Why would we not run with scissors, somebody? Did you hear what I said? Who can tell me back what I just said? What did you just hear when I said that? That's checking for understanding. The word okay is not. Pausing is sometimes enough. So when you're doing that trust thing that we talked about earlier, if you just pause, a lot of times a confused person will be like, hey, I'm confused. So pausing gives people a chance, and you'll know this about your audience or about your children if they'll speak up or if you need to ask. Does that make sense? Oh my goodness. When pastors say that, here's something really important. Does that make sense? And we all just go, because we feel like idiots if we say, no, that doesn't make sense. That's not helpful. That's one step above the word okay. So you need to remove the word okay and the question, does that make sense? Everybody's going to say yes, because they don't want to be the idiot that doesn't know what you're saying. So don't use that term. Check in a different way. What does that mean to you is good. So does that make sense? Is it bad? Because that's yes or no. What does that mean to you? And that's super good, especially if you're in a public speaking arena. What does that mean to you? Does anybody want to share what that meant to you in your life, in your situation right now? One hand goes up and you can listen. Hopefully it's not a loquacious person, because it's hard to hear them out from the audience, but they say one or two sentences, you repeat it, and that perks everybody up again. So that gets them engaged again, because you've just changed the stance of the room or what you're trying to say. You're engaging people truly to the point where you're giving somebody else space to speak. That's huge. That means you've increased trust, you've increased understanding, you're checking for understanding, and people that maybe didn't understand you might understand them. And you got feedback. That's huge. What does that mean to you? And then you sit back and then you watch everybody else. Don't just watch that person that's speaking to you. What is everybody else doing? Are they nodding? Are they going, So it's giving you another chance to gauge whether or not you're engaging in your message. How? So what did you hear me say? That's it for your little kids, for our 4-year-old. What did you hear me say? And then you can practice this back with your 4 and 5-year-olds. Whenever your 4-year-old's sending you a message, telling you something that's important to them, you can say to them, okay, what I just heard you say is your feelings are hurt, or you think that you deserve a bigger piece of cake. Tip 7, last tip. Here we are. Practice. If you want to be an engaging communicator, you have to practice all the time. That's not true. The more you practice, the faster you'll improve. What is practice? An actual application or use of an idea or method. Start with your children, maybe start with your husband, depends on your relationship and how you feel and how nervous you are when you speak or when you communicate. Make sure you have an actual topic of importance. So don't use this whenever you're just talking about the weather. Use this when you're like, you know what, this is important that this kid hears this, or my husband hears this. This is important that I'm understood in this area. What is your topic? Have it defined. I would even write it down. I love index cards. So Post-it notes, when you have a topic that you want to say, I'm probably not allowed to say Post-it notes. Yellow sticky notes, write it down on that. Grab a notebook, have something around your house that you can jot things down on when you say, I would like to talk about that, but you want to make sure you're engaging. Choose your audience then. So what's your topic? What's your audience? Who's your audience? And then give them a checklist to give you feedback. So in the handout, you have a checklist that lets them know how you did on all these tips. Again, it's gutting. It's not fun. But do you actually want to be engaging? Do you want to be an effective, engaging communicator? And then be ready for feedback. So hugging your knees to your chest and folding your arms and looking down is not being ready for feedback. Be ready for feedback. Lean forward, nod, thank you. Okay, thank you. Don't defend. You just say, thank you. I do want to get better at that. So your one response is, thank you. It's difficult. You can do it. Okay, and but how? Here we are. I already said it. Get feedback. So I have an empty room here on this slide because it's a lot easier to get feedback from nobody. So give yourself feedback. Practice in the mirror, practice on Zoom. Like this is what I'm doing, right? I'm watching myself after I record this to decide, is this well done? Do I need to redo one of these tips? I will be pulling things out, not wasting your time. So to be an effective communicator, because I don't have the feedback, I have to give myself feedback. So be honest and recognize that you're not always going to hit it out of the park. You're going to mess up a lot. The great thing is nobody's grading you. The only grade is your relationship. So if you want to be truly a master at understanding and giving information, sending and receiving messages, then it takes a lot of practice, a lot of feedback, and then change based on that feedback. Just like you're teaching your children, right? They get their, is it right or wrong on their answers? You give them feedback, they change, they grow. You have to do it with yourself now. You don't have a mama holding your hand anymore. So you have to challenge yourself. So feedback from yourself first, empty room in the mirror, or record yourself. You know, there's FaceTime recordings. Just say it to it and then decide, did you hit those 7 tips? What are the 7 tips? Be congruent. Do your words match your tone and your body language? Be interesting. Are you interested in what you're saying even? Show enthusiasm. Eyes, facial expression most. Show joy. Demonstrate trust, mostly pausing for that other person to give feedback. Be clear and concise. Check for understanding. You'll get better at this. This sometimes leads to rabbit trails, so you'll have to have some boundaries of just give me information on this when you check for your understanding. So you'll have to work on that. And then finally, practice. All right. Okay. That was the end of how to be an engaging communicator at all ages. You can contact me through Facebook, through email. I think Carrie Beck, with the Leadership Summit, has lots of ways for you to communicate with us. And so I'm looking forward to hearing your questions and helping you. That's my favorite thing. I love seeing progress, and I want to help you improve your life in all the different ways, from learning foreign language to communicating in English. Why is it not working? That's fun. I have to click. All right. So I'm not going to stand up because I have my PJ pants on, but are you that super awesome homeschool mom that like literally just birthed your first child? Because that was me. I had a 3-month-old and I was trying to homeschool. There's nothing wrong with that. It just shows where you are. Do you actually need this information right now? You have 14, 15, and 16-year-olds? Or are you just preparing your mind and getting ready because you are that on top of things? You're so excited about homeschooling. So again, mostly in your eyes, your face, how much you open your mouth. These are all ways that will demonstrate whether you're not enthusiastic. It does not have to be high energy and lots of movements. You can have no arm movement at all and still raise your eyebrows, so eyebrows are a big part of being enthusiastic. I'm watching myself over with my eyebrows. All of us blondes old blondes, used to be blondes, that have light eyebrows, coloring them in whenever you have a public speaking type thing, making them darker really affects how much people can listen to you because you're more expressive. All these little tips and tricks that you never knew you would find with being an engaging communicator. I feel like that's super important as humans, that, yeah, I put my best face forward, but I also, I don't hide it, that's all. I'll probably put this part in the bloopers. Maybe that's why I have 50,000 flashcards in my Spanish curriculum. Here we go. I'm trying to find something. It's probably gonna go in the bloopers. Oh, should I do it? I don't know. I have on my PJ pants. So this is not being ready for feedback. I don't know how I'll put that in.